We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230, KGEO, 1410, KARI, and 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Our guest by phone, if Clay hasn't chased her away, is an old friend of the program, Margaret Hoover, the great-granddaughter of President Hoover and the author of a great book now on paperback, American Individualism. Margaret Hoover. And Clay's waving here. Okay. You going to ask her a question, or are you going to give her a hard time?
I'm going to ask her a question.
Okay.
Hey, Margaret, you used to be...
It's okay. I can take the hard time.
Well, yeah, after Bill O'Reilly, Clay's a piece of cake.
Pushover.
Yeah.
Hey, you used to be with Fox News, and Fox News was noticed as having the best-looking women in television. And you're a very attractive woman, at least from the cover of your book.
I've met her. She is.
Okay. So why did you change to CNN?
Well, I, Bill was so good to me for so long, and it was a tough call on my part, I got to say. But CNN came to me looking for more conservative commentators. I don't know if you've noticed, but they don't have very many.
Really?
And I think I'm the only young female conservative commentator. I might be the only one.
I think you are.
And so they offered me a lot more. They offered me a pretty competitive deal that actually made it less hard to leave Fox. And you can't begrudge capitalism for working.
Well,
so I decided to take the plunge. It's hard for my folks, especially. They have no idea what channel CNN is. They still think I'm going to be on Fox. But they're getting there. They're getting used to CNN. There's a lot of actually really interesting changes that are going to be happening at CNN in the near future, and I think you guys might get a kick out of it.
Well, I hope they get some more viewers. I mean, that's one of the things they need. But you admit you're a capitalist, then?
Oh yeah.
Oh well.
No shying away from that.
Good. Well, Margaret, I hate to admit this, but I can't remember the last time I've seen CNN. I think, in the early days when it was just CNN, that's probably the last time I've seen it.
Oh, that hurts my heart. You guys should try it out.
Actually,
not that bad?
The hotels have
some great programming.
The hotels have CNN.
Yeah, if I knew when you were on, I would definitely turn it on. See, that's the thing. We don't know when you're on. Is there any regular time that we know you're going to be on?
I think I'll be able to share that with you shortly. I think there will be a regular time that I'll be on.
If you could
daily.
If you could email me that, I will. If you could email me that,
I will come back on the show and talk about it when that happens.
Sounds like breaking news. Breaking news.
Yeah, we'll break it here. Broken here first. Margaret Hoover is going to be on at X time on CNN. How about that? That sounds like a breaking news story. So. Before we got kind of sidetracked when Clay was giving you a hard time. Let's see, where were we? Where are we on our notes here? Okay, so you jumped from Bill O'Reilly to CNN, and you are the only female conservative on CNN, basically.
One of them. That was just sort of a regular contributor.
Okay, good. We've actually had liberals on this show, which is hard to believe. We had Juan Williams on not too long ago.
Oh, but Juan's such a great guy.
He is. And we were talking about education, which is, a great subject for Juan. But, yeah, Juan's a great guy. So I had a question for you on the economy. What do you think of Obama's handling of the economy?
Not much. I think a lot about it. I don't think highly of it. I think he has, first of all, not focused on it in any way that hasn't been, especially in the first 4 years, that was substantive. I think the things that we all agree, his chief economist and, economists across the political spectrum agree that would help get the economy going, include sound fiscal policy, right? Pass some budgets, live within our means, overhaul of the tax system, have some massive comprehensive tax reform, including corporate tax reform, and getting rid of all of the inequities that are built into the tax code, broadening the base of people who pay into the system and lessening the amount that middle Americans are paying, and sound monetary policy. The fact that the Federal Reserve has been printing trillions of dollars of cash, and infusing it into the economy in order to keep inflation, at least in the short term, low, and to keep interest rates low, is actually really risking some long-term cataclysmic economic events. And he has said he has totally failed on the first note to get any sort of fiscal deal or reform through by working with the Congress, which I believe is the president's job to lead and to try to broker a deal. And he's been totally ineffective of it. Even at the last minute, at the last hour of the last year, as the fiscal crisis is looming, he had to outsource his vice president to negotiate with Republicans in the Congress because he just had no trust and no goodwill or confidence from anybody in the Congress to be able to make a deal with him.
Margaret, you use the term that I agree with. Brokering a deal. It's one of those things where, Reagan was excellent at that, and I could see Romney, like Reagan, with a business background. You broker deals. It's something that you do. That's
what you do. He had so much experience at it. He knew how to do that. It's such a shame because Romney would have been he's a great businessman, and frankly, he did it in Massachusetts. He had 80% Democratic legislator in Massachusetts. He was able to pass massive legislation with Democratic support.
Exactly. We're having a conversation with American Individualism author Margaret Hoover.
Margaret, Mr. or President Obama stated, we don't have a debt problem, so why do you keep insisting we do?
Oh, gosh. Isn't that incredible? It's actually amazing that is the same man who in 2009, when he was president-elect, at a Washington Post editorial board meeting, said, we cannot keep kicking the can down the road in terms of our debt and deficits. Entitlement reform has to happen, and I'm going to prioritize making it happen. And then, when he is president-elect for his second term, says, we don't have a deficit problem. We don't have a debt problem. What's the problem? The real problem is, I don't know, what did he say the real problem is? I don't even know what he said the real problem. It's unbelievable.
Well, he crucified Bush.
He's just stopped trying to pretend like he isn't what he is, which is really a pretty basic left-wing, sort of liberal, ideological ideologue.
You really feel that way,
that's fine, but he didn't run as that, and he certainly didn't, he tried to do something else his first term. I think he feels like it didn't work, so he's just going to double down and try to grow the government and tax more Americans to pay for spending programs. It's like basic tax incentive liberalism.
You bring up a good point.
And now we have $16 trillion in debt.
But you bring up a great point because just recently it appears that the Republican Party or some key members of the Republican Party are going to go along with him for some budget cuts to increase more taxes.
There's been I don't know if that's true. Basically what we've seen is hypothetical questions being posed to certain Republicans in moments where, I think you have Republicans trying to sound like they're garnering goodwill and not being obstructionist. But you don't actually have any real deals or agreements on the table. I have seen no plans in paper. I have seen no principles or outlines of plans on paper. So I don't know that you actually are going to get. I just know I can't see Republicans even beginning to look at revenues after having given on revenues just 2 months ago. So I just think the president is, I think he's short-sighted. I think he's deeply partisan, and I think he's missing the mark.
And now he's visiting Israel.
Well, fortunately, I think visiting Israel, any U.S. president visits Israel as a sitting U.S. president, that is a good thing. I'm a huge, ardent, evangelical supporter of Israel. I think Israel is our most important ally, and it's deeply important for us to demonstrate to the Middle East and to the entire world that the United States stands with Israel. So that I'm going to give him a pass on.
This past Wednesday, he said that we have Israel's back. Now, where has he been for the last 4.5 years?
Well, that's a great point. He certainly didn't communicate that clearly or at all in a friendly way to Bibi Netanyahu over the last few years. But look, Israel is a diverse country. They have diverse political factions. The president doesn't like Bibi's political party. but it doesn't mean that the United States isn't behind Israel. And I think that's...
Yeah, to be honest with you, Margaret, I don't think we are behind Israel, and I think the only reason Obama's going there is to prevent what everybody knows is going to happen, which is Israel's getting to the point where soon they're going to have to make a decision as far as whether or not they unilaterally do something with Iran, because they cannot allow Iran to have the bomb, and it's getting to the point where it's getting real close.
This is interesting. This is the first country he hasn't apologized to.
When we
that we know of.
Margaret, this is going quick. You know, having you for the full show isn't even long enough. I mean, I enjoy having you on.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be back in a moment with our last segment with Margaret Hoover on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180.